We saw his reaction to them, or I should say the lack thereof. But let's take a look at how he did answer them, his reply to them. And we're going to go back to verse 34, and let's go to verse 36. It says, Jesus asked, "How much bread do you have?" And they replied, 7 loaves and a few small fish. So Jesus told all the people to sit down on the ground. And then he took the 7 loaves and the fish, he thanked God for them, and he broke them into pieces. He gave them to whom? He gave them to the disciples who distributed the food to the crowd. Don't miss this. I think there is a purpose to Jesus having the disciples serve as the servers. How are we ever going to feed this crowd? Oh, here you go. And everybody got food. Thanks to Jesus and brought to you by the disciples. See, we know how this story goes, okay? But let's understand that Jesus could have, he didn't, he could have just created food out of thin air, right? He could have just stood there and say, okay, pizza for everybody, boom. Let's mix it up. And he didn't do that. He went back to what he did before. He went back to use what was available. Ready for this? To use what was available from the disciples. 7 loaves of bread and a few fish. He used their resources. Last time, he used a child's lunch. Again, John tells us that the fish and the bread came from a child. This time, they've packed a lunch. In my opinion, kind of a weak one, but there you go. No little Debbie cakes. What is going on? He used what little faith they had. And he literally used them. See, here we are questioning, God, how in the world are you going to do this? Even though he's done it before. And then we say, God, how in the world are you going to come through for me this time? I don't get it. And what's interesting, he may actually use you to bring the result and to bring the answer. He might use what you have to bring forth the miracle that you need. He might actually take this moment to see what you can do to help bring the answer that you need. For example, God, I've got a huge financial need. Now here's how I need you to answer this, Jesus. Those guys that pop out of the minivan with the oversized checks and the balloon bouquet, I need 3 of them. That Publishers Clearinghouse, whatever, that's what I need. And Jesus just might say, no. Okay, well, I'll tell you what, Jesus, I've got 6 lucky numbers. Don't get me going. Jesus might just say, you know what? I might just use your giftings to see this financial need. I might actually get you a job. Or a better job. Oh, no, Jesus, no. I really don't want to work for it, okay? But please supply my needs. And oftentimes we think that we need to come up with a solution for Jesus. And I'm a bit of a type A control freak, okay? Okay. And so we'll cover that in therapy. And so sometimes when I approach Jesus, I'm like, okay, God, because I'm a planner. And A lot of you know this about me. I've got my plan A. If that doesn't work, I got my plan B. If that doesn't work, I've actually got a plan C stored somewhere. Just to make it easy. I can't believe I even think this. To make it easy on Jesus. And I found out that Jesus doesn't really need me to come up with answers. I actually need him to come up with my answers for me. And he might actually use me. He might actually do something through me. He might actually use the resources that I have to see the miracle take place. I love the fact that he used the disciples, the very ones that were questioning whether Jesus was going to pull this off or not. He said, tell you what, guys, not only am I going to feed them, but you're going to serve them. And how profound. For me, every time I handed out a fish sandwich, I'd be like, I can't believe I doubted him. Can't believe I doubted him. And Jesus proved to them again, during their not again moments, that he can do what he wants to do, and he might even use them. Jesus can demonstrate that he can do anything, and he might even use you. Oh, I want this relationship to be restored. Well, he might use you to do it. I need this to take place. He might need you to do it. How many of you follow what I'm saying?